Our guest currently has over 450 videos on YouTube. He has innovative products that he sells on izzyswan.com, and he has a history of innovation, design, and a passion to share his knowledge. And we appreciate that as we bring on Izzy Swan. Mr. Izzy, how are you?
Hey, RT. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good.
Good, good. It's always great whenever the guest shows up. No, I knew you were going to be here. I appreciate it. And that is you were telling me in the email you had a nice microphone set up. That looked like a nice one.
And, I was just on another podcast, and they actually had a little bit of pickup, so I went and found these things. So we won't have any of that issue here, I hope.
Yeah, you sound good. Hopefully the audio is good all around. So what's going on in the world currently for Izzy Swan?
Oh man, what isn't going on? Just staying busy. We're working on the infinity mirror project right now. We started out like we're just going to do this really simple video, and it got a lot more complicated after the more we dug into infinity mirrors and the capabilities, and then throwing some of our own ideas at it. So today we were looking for beam splitter glass, which is the type of glass used on teleprompters. It's probably one of the better glass for infinity mirrors. We just couldn't find anything here locally, and it was 6 weeks out. So today we finally found Friday we found a place that could get regular two-way mirror, or silvered mirror, or what they call it a bunch of different names. So we went and picked that up this morning. So we're wrapping up our infinity mirror build, which hopefully will be up on Thursday. We're pretty excited about that one. That's a fun project.
Sounds exciting. So is that going to lead to several videos on the channel, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably there's several ideas for the infinity style mirrors, including adding things like live motion, flames, stuff like that. So we can't cram that all into one video. So we'll probably end up doing several, but spaced out. I don't know, when I say I'm about to do a video, that could mean 6 months later. So so yeah, we'll do this one. This one will be up hopefully Thursday, and then we're going to do a drill powered elevator to get on the shop roof, and we have a pretty big announcement the week after that, and just staying busy.
You've always got big announcements going on. You recently took 2 or 3 months away from YouTube, and you were structuring a business expansion there at your home. That had to be almost overwhelming to try to squeeze that in and then get back onto YouTube.
Yeah, we'd looked at some commercial facilities. There were some available here locally that we'd looked at and thus thought very seriously about it. At one point we were ready to pull the trigger, and that didn't work out. So we stepped back, looked at a couple more, and at the end of the day, I just don't want to leave the house. I mean, there's some drawbacks to having a smaller shop, obviously, as opposed to working out of, I think accumulatively, we have about 1,800 square feet here now that we work out of, maybe slightly more than that. And it'd be really nice to walk into a, 10,000, 12,000 square foot facility. But then it wouldn't be here at the house. And that's a lot here in Greenville. That's a significant financial investment. And it takes away from some of the freedoms that I like to have when you have to meet those financial, responsibilities every month. It takes away some of those freedoms that I really enjoy. So at the end of the day, we just decided not to, and we expanded what we have here, and we're making it work. So
there you go. And I know you're going to Workbench Con, right? And next month.
That's still up in the air. It depends on a couple of factors, but I am scheduled to be there. We have some things happening in our personal life that may end up not being able to go. That's why you haven't heard me talking much about it. I mean, I'll still promote Workbench. I think Workbench has a lot of value for, people who are interested in that type of value that they have to offer. So, social media growth and opportunity to really start, if you haven't already, start talking to brands and working with brands and getting comfortable about. It's a very safe environment to learn that atmosphere and to start getting kind of working into that atmosphere if that's something that you're interested in with your channels. Or and it's also an opportunity for people who own businesses who want to grow their social media to promote their businesses. So for folks like that, it's a really good show. It's a really good place to go.
Well, if it works out, I hope to see you there.
I hope so too.
And if it doesn't, then whatever keeps you away, I hope you're able to get that resolved.
Thank you.
In its due time. I saw you making some comments about Maker Central. I'm not really familiar with that. What is Maker Central? Maker
Central is it's a show over in England. Forgive me for not knowing the name of the town. A really cool guy, a really cool cat puts it on. He's done it. I guess this will be the 3rd or 4th year. I know they took a year off for the COVID, obviously, and they just get a lot of makers together over there in England. They've had Colin Furs there. They get a lot of really cool people, and it's a good show. From what I've seen of other content creators posting, it looks like a lot of fun. And someday maybe I'll make it. We'll see. So
that's great. Just take a moment, let everybody know we are going to later in the show give away another one of the triangle peg games that I made. I don't have the pegs for it. I got to go by and get some tees. But once I get that, it could be on the way to you. If you want me to, I'll put a code of Polly on it before I send it to the winner. If you've already won something from this channel in January, you don't qualify, and you need a United States address for me to mail it to. And but we will tell you how to enter that later in the live stream. You do have to be present to win, and it's just a nice little something to give you a chance. Izzy, let's get into some questions, and there's already a question for you. Why haven't we gotten a mushroom update lately?
Mostly because we've been doing a lot of other things, and we're kind of winding the mushroom thing down for the summer. I mean, we're still growing some. We just harvested about 10 pounds of lion's mane the other day, but it's the same thing over and over again. It's just, it's really, the setup is so simple. It's like, we could just post the same thing over, like, but, yeah, we're winding it. We have, I think, what do we have, Maggie? 4 or 5 more blocks to grow before then we're done for the winter. 4. We have 4 more blocks to grow, so about another 3 weeks of mushrooms before we shut it down for the winter. And then we're going to do some outdoor mushroom stuff next year.
Oh, and tell Maggie hello. She's beginning to be quite the celebrity.
Yeah, she's right here.
I can't hear, though.
I know. We got the mics on, so she can't hear what's happening.
But. So Izzy, you've had a successful channel for years, and but you've always been a creator, innovator. You like to make unique designs. You like to do your own thing. But what did you do before you got on to YouTube?
I owned rustic furniture is kind of the longest career I've had was I owned a manufacturing company that did rustic furniture. So that's kind of where I learned a lot of my mechanical ability. So I went to college for construction management. That didn't work out. It was a babysitting job. I wasn't interested in babysitting. I wanted to build things. And so I started building log homes when I was young, went back to it. And then I kind of saw the whole rustic furniture world. And one of the things I really liked about rustic furniture is there weren't a lot of rules about it. As long as you made a solid piece of furniture, you could kind of get very whimsical or artsy or do whatever you want, so, and anybody who knows me knows I don't really like rules very well. So I started Rustic Furniture Company. Mostly at that point, when I first started, I wanted to do high-end pieces. But with freshly married and a young family, I realized very quickly I couldn't wait 9 months to a year to sell a piece. there had to be an income stream. So I moved to rustic, and not your traditional log pole stuff, lodge pole, rustic. When most people think rustic, they think lodge pole beds, things like that. But this was more twig, birch bark, mosaic, kind of very artsy, higher end type of birch bark and twig mosaic that I got into. And then I realized, like I said quickly, that I couldn't make a steady living as an artist. I wanted to refer to myself as. So I figured out ways to make it and dumb it down a little bit and make it many of them. And I've always kind of had a knack for designing and those sort of things. So I took some designs to a few places, and every place I went wanted it. So we had a really quick, successful business. Very, very quickly, we had a successful business. So I spent quite a while up until 2008 doing that. And everybody knows what happened in 2008. And I've gotten pretty good at designing equipment, because in the rustic world, we don't deal with, very seldomly do we deal with straight lumber. It's mostly like when you're dealing with natural logs and branches, it's not only round, but it's also all kinds of weird shapes. It's nothing's, there's no symmetry to it, or no exact symmetry to it anyway. So I learned to build equipment to manufacture the stuff faster and faster. And it turned out I really liked building the equipment more than I liked building the furniture. But so that's kind of where I really developed a lot of my experience and skills with the mechanical side of what I do. And in 2008 stopped, and we stopped in 2008. Just everybody knows what happened then. And then I did process and production consulting for a lot of other furniture manufacturers for years. I still do some from time to time now.
Okay, and what led you from that into video creation on YouTube?
Boredom, mostly. I was living in Charleston. This was back in, we're talking 2013, March 19th, 2013 was when I posted my very first video. And I had talked to a lot of people in the area trying to find a woodworkers group, any, people that were building stuff. Didn't even have to be woodworking, there just wasn't much of it. So a friend of mine suggested making videos on YouTube to reach out to other, meet other woodworkers, reach out to other people who were building things. And so I started checking it out, and that was really cool. I saw, back then it was Steve Ramsey, Mark Spagnolo, Laney Shaughnessy, and of course Matt's Basement Workshop. And they were kind of, those are really the four guys. I call them the four fathers. They're the four guys that really started the woodworking DIY thing on YouTube. Those were the guys that started it all. And then there was Matthias Wandel and John Heinz came along. And about the same time, Jimmy DeResta had started his thing, Bob Claggett, and I started about the same time, roughly within a year span there. We all started right around the same time. And it was just fun and exciting. I put a video up. It was the worst video that's ever been posted to YouTube. If you're hard on your videos, go check out my very first video ever. You won't feel so bad, I promise. But people commented, and I was interacting with them. And I took like another 2 months, and I put up another video, and it happened again. People were, commenting and talking, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And between at those points, I was watching a lot of YouTube. It was ridiculous. I had done a lot of fishing because I had a lot of free time. So I've been fishing and watching YouTube videos. And I kind of saw that there was this gap in the market of things that, just these in the industrial side of making or furniture or other things, you tend to see a lot of things that you don't see in the DIY sect. And there's a lot of adaptations that I saw that were possible. So I took a lot of my knowledge from that side of the world and kind of adapted it to the DIY and just started doing a lot of crazy and wild things that people hadn't seen before on equipment that wasn't designed for it, but it works. And, I got a lot of people saying that's not safe, that kind of, and they don't really understand. They didn't have a good grasp on the physics of what I was doing. There's obviously potential for bad things to happen, but that's our everyday life in making things. So I did a lot of crazy stuff. I gained some notoriety. People kept subscribing, and here we are today.
Yeah, and so whenever you joined YouTube, YouTube is a wonderful place for people of a like-minded people to interact. because there's not a high concentration of woodworkers around me. And it's nice to be able to interact with woodworkers from all the way around the world, to Australia, the UK, Canada, everywhere. And it's really great for that environment. From the time that you joined YouTube, I'm sure YouTube was a much different landscape than it is now.
Yes.
How have you seen things change over time?
Well, I mean, when I was, everything changes, everything evolves. I mean, when I was back in the late 70s and early 80s, when I was a young man running around, I mean, nothing we do today is similar to that. So you can't when I started YouTube, I did not expect it to stay the same. I didn't realize how rapidly it changes and how quickly that pace is quickened. So the changes happen faster and faster now than they did back then. But, I think there was more of a community side to YouTube because even though there may have been 5,000 or 6,000 people trying to make DIY videos back then, there was a lot less people trying to do it. And now it's in the hundreds of thousands, and it's, so there's a lot more. I don't know. I hesitate to use the word noise. But I think that comes to mind as the quickest. The first thing that comes to mind is that there's just so much more noise happening out there. There's so much more content in our genre than there used to be. So obviously things are going to change. So it's to hear it. Some folks that have been around a long time don't like it. Others don't seem to mind it. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I don't watch YouTube pretty much at all anymore. I'll watch a few folks. I still watch Jimmy's. I watch, you had John from Lincoln Street Woodwork on. I watch his stuff just because they're friends of mine. So if they're friends or acquaintance, I'll go check it out. But as for just, scrolling through YouTube and watching woodworking videos, I pretty much don't do that anymore. Yeah. It's still YouTube.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we discuss among YouTubers now is how to make yourself stand out. Now, what you did years ago, I mean, you're talking more than 8 years ago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you always had unique enough projects that they would stand out, even in today's market.
Yeah.
In today's market, what I see a lot of times is, you go search for something, how to make a box. There's thousands of videos on how to make a standard box, because every creator is going to do it. If you look up a table saw sled, I mean, my goodness, every YouTuber out there that does woodworking related items, if he has a table saw, he's made a sled and he made a video about it. And
yeah, I think I've made 4 or 5 over the years, but I mean, different style sleds do different things, but still, yes.
Yeah. So the competition has increased because there's only so many eyeballs out there to watch videos at a time, and being able to stand out and be unique in one way or another is beneficial. And your stuff, a lot of it's very, very unique. Things that honestly, I watch some of your ideas and it's like, well, I don't even have the machinery or the thought process to put that together, but I enjoy watching it because it is so unique. So I appreciate that.
I think the thing I'd like to, when, you say that, like, I don't have the machinery or the thought process, there's a lot of things I think of that most folks are never going to, but I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been designing and building equipment and stuff for 30 years. So that's the way my brain works. If you were doing something for 30 years, you'd be pretty unique and good at it too, wouldn't you? So, in that aspect, I don't feel like there's anything special about what I do. It's just in a continuation of the experience that I've accumulated over the last 30 years. As far as equipment goes, and I say this adamantly all the time, there is nothing I've ever made that I couldn't make by hand. And I have a skill set that I've developed that I could make it by hand. Does having a CNC make it faster? You bet it does. There is no way, ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's quicker and more accurate in a lot of cases. But I still have the know-how and the skill set to do that all by hand. So is equipment important? It is if you're trying to make a living at it, isn't it? I don't think it's so much important if you're DIYing and that's your passion. You just want to build some things because you enjoy it.
Yeah. And it looks like I need to apologize to Everyman Builds for my comment about woodworkers making box videos and table saw sleds. He says my last 2 videos were a box and a table saw sled.
Right on.
So he made this box, so I appreciate that.
Nice.
Yeah. But nothing wrong with those videos, but the competition is going to be heavy on those.
Well, it's also not just the competition; it's what the viewers. I mean, what viewers has expect and seek out has changed from what it was 6 or 7 or 8 years, or even 2 years ago. So and there's different kinds of viewers now. There's a larger variety of viewers that enjoy different things. So it really, if you want to be successful on YouTube, you're trying to hit that format that's going to reach the broadest audience. And I tell you, John over at Lincoln Strain Woodworks is doing an amazing job at that, just absolutely amazing. And, and I watched his show that he did with you. And, he said a lot of really wise things in that show. And then he said, he scripts everything. And then I giggled. I was like, scripts, huh? So.
Yeah. So, how has your creative process for videos changed during this time on YouTube?
I tried to get a little bit better at videos. I don't really care about videos. Like a lot of people put a lot of effort into really crisp, clean, clear videos, super clean audio, really good lighting. I don't care about that stuff. I bought a little nicer camera. I've got American green lights in my shop. You'll never see soft lights in my stuff. Gotten a little bit better at editing just because I've done a lot of it. I really focus on content, where John's got this great personality and he's able to do the scripting and really he really understands what viewers are looking for. I don't put that kind of energy into my videos that John does. I really don't. I have an idea. I press play on the camera and I start talking and I show aspects of the build that I think people would be interested in seeing. That's all I do, and then I can do things like build a drill powered elevator with nothing but some plywood, a drill, and a couple of bearings and a piece of metal, or a dinosaur, or insects that walk around, or just do really unique things with my table saw. So those kind of things are what I focus on. I once had a guy from Google, a higher up at Google, tell me, he says, I don't care if you're recording with your cell phone and you have the worst audio ever. The secret to getting great views and an audience is content. He says, focus on your content and you'll be successful, period. So that's what I did. And it worked. I mean, for the most part.
Yep. It has worked. We've got a few questions here. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's start out with a milestone. My milestone was this last weekend. I made my first project that made me excited to do so much more.
Right on, Holland. Yeah. Custom Woodworking. That's awesome.
Yeah. Here's a confetti for you. That's good stuff right there. Here's another Woodshop Nerdery reached 650 subs and had an 11th video break 1,000 views. If you have less than 1,000 subscribers and you're getting more than 1,000 views, you're reaching some viewers. So outside of your little dedicated huddle. So that's always good news. Good job. And another milestone from PJ. Finally went to a real lumber yard and bought my first of many hardwoods. Dark walnut, maple, and purple heart. Cutting board coming soon.
Awesome,
like that.
PJ. Awesome.
Lincoln Street says, can I put in a request to not pause on the mushrooms?
No.
Come on, John.
I actually need that space back for about 4 weeks. So it's got to go. It's got to get tucked away for a few weeks.
All right. Splinter Fingers Woodworking. Great guy doing a lot of good things. Hey, Izzy, is your drill-powered lathe plans able to be cut on the Shapeoko? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
XXL.
Drill-powered lathe. Man, I think I did that like year 2 of YouTube, and I actually hand drew those plans and then took pictures of them, like with a pencil and a ruler. I didn't even put it on the computer. So the answer would be, if you can design them in your whatever software you use, then you can, absolutely. But I've never done anything with them other than just play around with it in the shop. So, and I built that out of my head and then drew out some plans for it. I didn't make plans prior. I think we're talking about the same thing.
All right. Woodcraft. Oh, thanks, Splinter Fingers, for the question. Woodcraft by Saman says, how is your business model broken down now, and do you anticipate it will look like in 5 years?
Ooh. How long do we have?
Yeah, I mean, are we getting into trade secrets here?
No, not at all. Social media sees about maybe 10% of what I do. We got a lot. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I work with some engineering groups on product development. I'm working with. I own another group. I own a group called Smart Future that works on smart technologies, smart cities, energy sourcing, atmospheric water condensers, hydrogen, what that looks like for source for energy, all kinds of crazy stuff. So there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that just doesn't make it out to the YouTubes and the Instagrams and the TikToks. But as far as YouTube goes, I probably won't be on YouTube much longer, maybe a couple years. And I mean, I say that, I mean, consistently, I'll always put stuff out there just because it's, every once in a while I go like, I want to build a drill powered rope swing that inverts you and makes you get sick. And I'll make a video about that because it's fun. But as far as like business model, like YouTube as a business model, as part of my business model, that platform being part of my business model, it's probably only got a couple years worth of life left in it. And I think at that point we'll be focusing on other things, things that I've been kind of putting off. I always said I'd retire when I was 50. I always joke about being retired. But I think when I hit that age, that's going to be pretty significant for me. And I really want to focus on the things that really matter to me, like agriculture, what the future of energy and water looks like. And that none of that makes good YouTube content. It's super boring. So
You've recently invested in like a 5x10 plasma cutter and a 5x10 CNC.
Yes.
I'm sure that's a big part of your 5-year plan. Can you tell us about those a little bit? I got a lot of viewers interested in CNC and plasma cutting and laser engraving.
The big announcement we have outcoming in a couple weeks is that I am actually been working for the last few months on getting a dealership for Phantom CNCs. So we'll be parking 2 more machines in my shop, not necessarily for production, but for people to come look at and use and get experience on and train on. But I'm going to be selling Phantom CNCs and Phantom plasmas as part of my business model moving forward. I hope to actually buy into the company in a few years. They make literally, and I mean, I'm biased. I mean, I paid good money for the machines. They didn't give them to me, but you guys have heard me kind of, kowtow about them. I really like them. They're making machines that, like, I paid $37,000, just shy of $37,000 for my machine. anybody else. Anywhere else, that machine is a $54,000 to a $60,000 machine, bare minimum. And that's before they start adding features that they already include. So I love this company. They're making it so they're making that barrier to entry reduce. What's the best way to put that? They're just making it easier for the common guy, guys like you and me, to turn what we do into a real business that makes real money. And I want to be part of that. So I'm excited about Phantom CNCs. So as far as like me having the CNCs, obviously a lot of you guys know that we produce some of our own products here. We like making these really plain, ordinary, beefy products. We don't flash them up. They're not, I'm going against all the advice of most product development companies these days. They want these really premium, high-end, really fancy gizmo-y products. I have no interest in that. We make really strong, really beefy products that they get a job done, they work, and that's what we do here. So that's why the reasons why the Phantom CNC was important to us. And one of the biggest reasons we made that plunge is because there was a giant shift in material availability, material cost. Everybody knows that. Not everybody knows, but a lot of people know that, container shipping from overseas went from about $8,000, $7,000 to a container to $25,000 a container. Pretty much what feels like overnight. It took a little while, but it happened in less than 9 months. So I really wanted to start focusing on, American manufacturing, what that looked like, and so that was a big part for us. And then the other side of it was we either had to start, because material costs jumped considerably from when we started making products, in some cases 200%. So we either had to get better and faster at what we're doing, or we had to start charging more. And I really want to keep my products as affordable as possible. I don't want these to be these really stupid high-end premium products. We want to make premium products and sell them at a reasonable price. So we had to either get better at making them or charge more. So the decision was to get better at making them, and that meant investment. That meant spending money on a machine that was going to get way faster cut speeds, a lot more quality out of those speeds, and more accuracy. And that's what we did. And when I went there, I was looking at a CNC. Plasma wasn't even in my vocabulary at that time. And then I found out he's selling basically a $35,000 plasma for 15 grand. I was like, what? So plasma has always been on the scope. And it just so happens I was in a situation where we could do it. So we bought a plasma as well. Yeah. And we're slowly working our way into that. I'm just learning all the feeds and speeds and the proper setups, and but when I get that thing dialed in, we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So
yeah, and your idea about making quality available or accessible at a reasonable cost can do nothing but accelerate the growth of our genre, our related businesses, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
At every level.
Yeah, it's a weird world out there right now. We were hoping to see the shipping prices drop by the end of this year from overseas, and that doesn't necessarily mean I'm buying, products from overseas. It means I buy some of my materials would be purchased from overseas, which I'm not right now. About the only thing we're getting overseas right now are fasteners, because try to find some place here to get them. So, but there's so much of of that world that's just so unstable right now. And in order to keep providing product, and like you said, keep providing this really high quality, no bells and whistles, just this beefy product, that when the thing that sucks for us is when you buy it, you'll never need to buy it again. If you buy our quick lock systems, it's done. You won't ever have to replace that. It's not going to break. So, I don't know if that's a great business model or not, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep doing the best we can to make the best products we can, period.
in some ways, it goes against the trend of making sure that it'll break down after 5 to 10 years, so they have to buy another one, right?
Yeah. Planned obsolescence is what that's called in the market.
So that's great.
Mhm.
Let's see. Are you still running the $100 chainsaw mill? Any plans to upgrade to a manufactured built mill?
No, we're not running the $100 chainsaw mill. I sold that. So, and no, I have no interest in sawmilling aside from I'm going to build another sawmill because I have another really great idea for one. But for our own purposes, when we cut a tree down, we don't want to burn it. We want to use it. I have zero interest in chainsaw in milling aside from just a little bit of my own. That's a lot of back-breaking work with very little benefit.
Yeah, seems like it.
I mean, I should rephrase that. Very little benefit to me. I mean, there are people that make businesses out of it and they do great with it, but for me personally, that is, how I feel about it. I don't want to get into where we're doing a lot of really difficult manual labor when I have no plans of, selling material or getting into that kind of thing. So it wouldn't make any sense for me.
Scott Walsh just hit 15,000 subscribers today.
All right, Scott. That's awesome, man.
I think he's gotten 9 or 10,000 subscribers just off the last video. Scott's on fire. So that is fantastic.
What was Scott's last video?
Well, he just released another one that I saw come up, a notification right before I came online. Mm-hmm. The one before that was on using construction grade lumber to build furniture, nice. Which was just an amazing video. And I've got to check out his latest. I just didn't have time before the live stream. Scott, if you want to drop the name of your latest one in the chat, and I'll try to pick that up. Put an M beside it, so I think it's a Milestone.
Yeah, I'll go check it out after the show.
Let's see. We've got another question. Was there a drill-powered shop tool that Izzy attempted while he was unsuccessful with? Okay.
No.
I'm not that I'm aware.
No, I always feel bad about that. People ask me what I failed at, and stuff like that. Before I start, I have a pretty good idea that the chances of success are high.
Izzy, what success has been the hardest fought or the best surprise?
YouTube.
Was it a big surprise that you made it so big?
I still don't consider myself big. I mean, maybe decent for our genre, but I mean, you look at the broad spectrum of YouTube, I'm just a little tiny feller. But yeah, I mean, just that we've had so much success with our channel, and I don't mean subscribers. And I mean, subscribers mean almost nothing in this world. In fact, if you look at your stats, most of your views don't come from subscribers. They come from shares, YouTube shares. But just the success that we found in longevity, the response that we get to a lot of our video content, the ability to monetize that in ways outside of branding, those kind of things I'm always surprised by. But it's a great surprise. But we've worked hard for it. We've put, so many hours, invested so much money into it. So it's nice to see it continue to, be moving forward and still see some growth, even though I'm reluctant to make much in the way of changes to my program. You can ask John, we've talked about this some nights. I'm like, he's talking about all the things he's doing in there. It's really exciting. And he's doing some really cool stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you'll do well. I'm not going to do that.
You doing your own thing has served you well. But on the comment of subscribers don't mean much, that's after you get 1,000. So if you're watching right now and you're getting value out of this, please give us a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and make sure to ring that bell so you get notified of future live streams.
Right on.
So I appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this to win the peg, the triangle peg game. We're going to put hashtag peg in the chat comments, and we will draw in just a couple of minutes a winner. So hashtag peg. And we will go to another question. Who gave you your biggest inspiration for woodworking? It's a good question.
Oh, I wish I had a good answer. There's so many folks that I don't think it's an individual. I think it's more projects than actual person. Like, I'm inspired by the physical things that I see and how they're done. And, you know, when somebody creates some kind of new system of joinery or that kind of stuff, I get really excited about. But a lot of people have done that over the years. I mean, you know, one of the people I admire a lot, or, you know, he's not with us anymore, Sam Mulaf, or Maloof, depending on, you know, what part of the country you're in. And then there's a lot of people that most folks don't know. People like Barney Bellinger, Randy Holden. These are phenomenal rustic furniture artists. Some of their abilities to bring so many elements in and just offer a symmetry and a balance that is crazy attractive. And then in the, you know, in the mechanical world, there's a long list of people who have, you know, done some, you know, really cool things. Whitworth is still one of my biggest heroes, and some of you engineers out there are going, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. But as any, I don't really have an individual. I mean, my dad, you know, my grandpa, I'm a fifth generation craftsman. I grew up around it, grew up in it. You know, watching them do stuff didn't really inspire me, because at that point in my life, I wasn't interested in woodworking. I had to, you know, when we were young, that was just kind of something we had to do. I really didn't get into woodworking until after school and after, you know, after 16 months as construction management, and then 2 years in log homes. And so woodworking was just one of those, it was a fallback for me. And then I found a passion for it after I realized there was an aspect of it that really spoke to me. That was the rustic side of it, because the rules were thrown out. You know, it's like, there are no more rules anymore. I can do whatever I want. And that's when I got excited about making and woodworking and designing and that kind of stuff. It's always, I need to have a better answer. Holland Custom Woodworking, good question. I will think harder about that for the next time I'm asked.
All right, let's we did get a response from Scott and about his latest video, and after my comment about woodworkers making box videos and table sled videos, his last video was building a small crosscut sled. So I'm just hurting everybody's feelings tonight. But you know what I have on my channel? I have a crosscut sled and a box. So, but I did see the thumbnail to that, Scott, and it looked unique, looked small, but you had a long extension, if I remember correctly, so you could make long cuts with a probably smaller, lighter sled. But I will check it out after the live stream. You always do great work, and you add twists to your videos. So
his audio, I've seen a
that.
couple of his videos. His audio is on spot every time. I'm like, I never want one of my videos to be played after his ever. So
let's draw a winner, because everybody wants to be a winner. So these Triangle Games. I made a bunch of them for a charity fundraiser, and I had a couple left over. So I gave one away before, and I'm giving one away this week. Let's see. Giveaway tool. And I believe everybody should be able to see the giveaway tool now. And here's the broadcast. And if you haven't done it, you need to get your chat comment with hashtag PEG, P-E-G. And we're going to start collecting comments now. All right, 11 entries. And out of those entries, the winner is the Appalachian Heritage Woodshop. So Appalachian Heritage Woodshop, please contact me, either instant message on Instagram or email me at marriedmanwoodworking@gmail.com. Give me your information and we will do it. For you to really be a winner, you need to respond in the chat that you have seen this. So let's look for your comment to make sure that you are live here with us. So Appalachian Heritage Woodshop, looking for a comment from you. Oh, I see it and I will contact you. Perfect. Good job. Thank you. And congratulations. Happy for you. Okay. And guess who has a question for Izzy? The Appalachian Heritage Woodshop. Are you trademarked? How do you protect your designs?
I have a really good patent attorney. If that's what you're asking, how do I protect the stuff that I design and I put out in public? First of all, if it's worth patenting, I put a provisional on it. I have a wonderful attorney. I can call him. If I have an idea Monday morning, I can design it out and send him a patent application by 11 and he'll have it patented. He'll have a provisional on it before the end of the day. If it's something that over time shows to be worthy, I can put a utility on it before that year's up. Copyrighted, copyrights only work with design. They don't work with product. You can copyright designs. I don't know if you know that or not. That's pretty easy. That's about an hour-long process on the internet, and you can get a copyright for about $75, depending on what it is. There's some legalities behind that. All that information is on Google, or talk to an attorney. Find one that's not expensive, because there are good ones out there that don't cost a ton. Trademark, no, I've never bothered. It's my name. I don't bother trademarking it. You legally cannot tell me I can't use my name. Even if you have a trademark that says Izzy Swan, you can't come to me and say you can't use Izzy Swan. It is my legal name. So they can't take that away from me.
Yeah. So I just need to legally change my name to Walmart and then I'll be set.
You'd be good. Yep.
All right.
Although I still think you'll have a hard time getting Walmart.com. I'm not sure they're in the mood and they're in the market to sell.
Yeah. You're right. Okay. Do you have a group of YouTubers you chat with? And do you have a team?
Yes and yes. There is, folks like Jimmy DeResta, Andy Klein, Jonathan Katz-Moses, just to name a few. I mean, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but there's a group of people I chat with all the time. I talk to every one of these guys probably at least once a month, in some cases a lot more often. Brian Way, some of you know him as Kaizen Source or Kaizen Inserts. a lot of business folks I visit with and talk with. We discuss a lot of the things that are happening in the market, sales fluctuations, all the fun, exciting stuff. And then, yeah, I got a team. I've got, until recently, we had 5 people here at Maker's Playground, which is what we call our home base. Maggie, my son Quinn, Shayna, and Brad. Brad and Shayna are on hiatus at the moment. So right now it's just the 3 of us. We've backed off on some of our sales stuff for the moment. We're sourcing we use a material called HDPE a lot. And that material is very hit or miss right now. So we've kind of backed off a little bit because we don't want to overextend our ability. If we can't get the product, we can't get the raw product. We can't make the end product. So right now we're just kind of focusing on some content, some new product ideas, working with Phantom and a couple other bigger things that we have going on in the background.
So Jarmade says his next video is 80% rendering right now. Okay,
nice.
So, speaking of software and editing, do you do your own editing or you have someone else that edits your videos?
I edit my own. I had a video guy and editor here for about 6-8 months. Just super great guy. And he is moved back to Indiana. So mostly I do my own. If you saw the video quality jump a little bit, it was his fault. We're back to normal now. The videos suck again. So, but
the content, man.
Yeah, 400 and I don't know what we have. 400 and some change videos up online, and that's probably 100 shy of what I've actually edited for YouTube and just didn't put up or taken down. Plus a lot of Instagram, TikTok, and other video editing. I also do some video editing for some companies from time to time, some voiceover work. You get a system down, you get fast at it. Most of my videos don't take much more than an hour or 2 to edit, and you get really good at recording what you're going to use instead of all the B-roll that, any video guy will get lots of B-roll. I'm like, no, because then I have to watch it. So we've gotten pretty good at, dialing down what we're watching. We're going through kind of a weird fluctuation here with Maggie's involved in the videos now. So it's kind of changed the ebb and flow, the rhythm of how we record and what we do. So that's been a little bit of a learning experience. And I got to be honest, it's kind of fun because it throws something new into the mix. Before I kind of had this format, I knew exactly what I was going to show in the video, and I might have recorded that a couple shots 2 or 3 times to get the right angle or whatever. If my thumb was in the way, I might have re-recorded it. But now it's with Maggie in the mix, and Maggie's a little uncomfortable in front of the camera. She's just starting to get more and more comfortable, speaking in front of the camera. And we do a lot of, and I notice myself doing it now too, but we do a lot of takes to get what we need. And that's been kind of fun. I've been enjoying that. So that's thrown a little bit into the mix, makes the editing a little bit more creative. So that's been cool. It's been a lot of fun.
That's great. Sandy from McKenzie Lumber Mill, probably heard your milling comment earlier, but any advice for bringing a sawmill woodworking business to YouTube?
That would be an amazing channel. Just talking about sawmilling, all the different material, just different woods that you're cutting, ways you're cutting them, what type of processing you're using, whether you're drying it, how you're drying it. All those things make great content. And if I know anything, people love sawmill videos. Some of my higher viewed videos are, I think one of my sawmill videos has 4.5 million views. That's not typical of my channel. If I get 125 to 200,000 views, I am thrilled. I'm like, yeah, right on. But those sawmill videos, man, they bring on the views. So anything with the sawmill in the title is a great searchable title. So that you're already starting off on the right foot. So just make them, people, like I told John, people want to have fun and to be entertained. So if you have some energy in your videos, you don't have to be jumping up and down and screaming and waving your hands in the air. Just have some energy in them and, show them show them something that they can use. Show them some information that's valuable. And you're not going to hit that every time with every person, but you're going to hit some. So show them something that's interesting or valuable. And I'm a sucker for documentary. I'll watch documentaries even though I have absolutely no use for them, for whatever that documentary might be about. But I love information. And if a documentary is interesting, it's, I wouldn't say fast paced, but it's got a good pace to it. And the people I'm listening to are fun and interesting or have a little bit of energy in behind their voice. It's amazing how much a difference that makes. If you just have a little bit of energy behind your voice. And it's a weird thing for those of you who haven't done a lot of filming before. You could feel like you're kind of screaming at the camera a little bit and then watch the video and it doesn't look like it at all. It looks like it's pretty just toned down. So if you haven't done video before, I highly suggest you make a handful of videos before you ever post your first one and just get a feel for what you're doing. Throw some energy at it. And it doesn't have to be dorky energy. Just talk a little louder, talk a little bit quicker. Not a lot quicker, y'all, just a little bit. And don't be afraid to tell a funny joke. Even dad jokes work from time to time.
So her Mackenzie Lumber Mill was one of the trailers that played before the live stream, and we'll be playing it after. And
Nice.
She has a lot of energy she's bringing to it, and I think those are good tips. Mighty Sawdust celebrating 333 subs, 2 videos over 1,000 views each. One video clip hit 20,000 views. Okay,
Awesome.
Congratulations. Doing good. Another one of the ones that had a trailer before the live stream.
Very cool.
Suman says, other than the Phantom, what is the most useful tool in your shop for the growth of your business?
My brain. That's what I mean. The best tool you have in your shop sits between your ears, y'all. As far as physical items that we use a lot, probably, obviously table size, one of the heart and soul pieces. It's not the heart and soul piece, but it is definitely one of them. But I find that my edge belt sander probably gets used more than I care to admit. We have an 89-inch oscillating edge belt sander we just got from Oliver. I don't know 6 months ago. And I had one back in my pro shop, and I never put one. I always felt like that was kind of a luxury item because you can get by with one of those small combo, disc belt sanders. You can, they cost $500-600 instead of like $1,200 or $1,500 or $2,000. But I got to tell you, man, is it nice having it back in the shop, and we just use it constantly. I use it constantly. So
that's awesome. Splinter Fingers says, can you talk Clingsport into opening a store in Pikeville, Kentucky?
No. I tried to get them to bring back when Clingsport and I were hot and heavy. I tried to get them to bring one down here to Greenville. Greenville's in sore need of a store like Clingsport. I mean, we've got Woodcraft. We have we have the wood shed, and we have the tool room, the tool shed. Sorry, woodshed, tool shed. Which is the woodshed's mostly just wood, domestic hardwoods. But that's it. Then we got the big box store. So I think they would have done really well. They're very competitive, well priced, just a great managed company. So it would have been nice to have them here. It would be nice to have one anywhere, really.
Yeah. Woodworking in a Wheelchair 71 says, if you had any advice to give new YouTuber, what would it be?
Look at the people that are having success on YouTube. Look at what they're doing. And I don't mean just the big YouTubers. That's always a big mistake that people make, is go straight to the big YouTubers. But look at folks like John who still have channels that are in really serious growth. and are gaining numbers, and what he's doing, how he's doing it, how he's picking his videos. Do the same thing with those people that you see are still having really serious success. And then try to find a rhythm in that works for you. So if there's a thing that you can do, and I don't mean emulate them, don't copy them, but emulating what they're doing is probably the safest way to success. You find somebody who's being successful, you emulate what they're doing, and you join that successful. I mean, look at Modern Builds. I mean, Modern Builds did that with Ben Ueda's channel. Was it Modern Builds? What's Mike Montgomery's channel?
It is.
I mean, Mike Montgomery kind of just really emulated what Ben Ueda was doing, and he found great success doing it. And it was smart because Ben was making all these right moves. He was really appealing to an audience that had a larger mass rather than just this kind of smaller genre of really interested woodworkers and makers, but to a much larger audience, people who are everyday folks who don't necessarily have shop fulls of tools. They have 3 or 4 tools, and he started showing them how they can make cool stuff. And that worked. So those formulas work. Have fun with what you're doing. If you're not having fun, the audience, I don't care. You can't fake it well enough that the audience isn't going to read that. So enjoy yourself, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the thing that you're videoing about, because if you're trying to force it, it gets picked up.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're a really better actor than most I've seen on YouTube, you're going to have a hard time fooling anyone. John from Lincoln Street, I'm saving your question till last, so hold on, buddy. All right, McMath Woodworks. I've been hanging out with my kids, so disregard if you've already answered this, but what's your opinion on project videos? We've heard a lot that project videos are dead, that it's hard to make a successful project video. What's your opinion on project videos?
If you're building a cutting board or a nightstand or an end table, unless it's really cool. People have seen that. John said it best. He says, YouTube doesn't find viewers for your videos. YouTube finds videos for their viewers. So watch what people are watching. I mean, there's no magic formula in that. If people aren't watching project builds, then focus on something else, or make your project builds so freaking off the chain and amazing that they can't not watch them. If you're building another end table using, dominoes or whatever, pocket hole joinery, and it's mundane, unless you're crazy, crazy sexy and super entertaining when you speak. I don't know about you guys, but I do not fall into that category on either level. So, the things that are going to do well, tool reviews do well. They always have been, always will do well. People want to see what's out there. And if you want to build a channel quickly, do tool reviews. You're going to get bored with it really quick. But you could. Table saw, anything table saw jigs, woodworking fixtures have always done well, always will. They've not done well just on YouTube, but for the last 50 years, magazines sold more copies when they had jigs and fixtures in them than they had projects in them. Because people want to build their own projects. They're not necessarily always interested in somebody else's, but they want to know the best way to do that and the easiest way to do that, or maybe how they can get more out of the tools that they're using. So, yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, guys.
Yeah, one of your recent videos, you had a picture of a chair in the, at the beginning of the video, and a lot of people might assume that you're going to build a chair, but that wasn't the video. The video was the interesting bit about
using vacuum,
how you did your router bits and the process and the vacuum seal on those forms.
We used it as an opportunity to educate people about vacuum templating, and about how to use, template routing to their advantage.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I designed that chair just for the video, and I've been getting hammered with emails and requests for designs for that chair. And I'm like, So, but it's, it's a lot of fun, and you can build a project in a video and still have a lot of good content, but you're going to focus on the things like joinery. Is there something unique about the joinery you're using? Is there a unique thing about the legs that you're using on it? Is there a unique way you're faceting? There's unique things inside of build projects. So you can find those things that are going to appeal to people and emphasize on them, not necessarily emphasize the project, but emphasize the educational aspect of the build. And I mean, guys, I really wish I was an expert at YouTube. I am not. Lincoln Street Woodwork has a much better idea about how to attack content in today's market than I would ever dream of. I've built an audience. I had the advantage of having a much less interrupted space to put my content in. And I imagine if I had it to do over, I would still do pretty well because my content is just crazy unique, but not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody can. So, it's a tougher market than it was, a decade ago. It really is, guys. There's so much more noise. So you gotta, to rise above that noise to get noticed, you got to be that much more Johnny on the spot. That's what I'm going to start calling Lincoln Street Woodworking. I'm going to start calling him Johnny on the spot.
Well, if you want to have a YouTube channel strictly as a hobby and you just want to post your stuff on it and you don't care about growth and you don't care about income, then the platform is there. Do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But if you really want to grow, then you've got to find a way to fit into a niche. You've got to either do something unique or do the mundane stuff extraordinarily well. You got to be the first at it or to be one of the best at it, and to keep those viewers, I think. So I really appreciate you coming on, Izzy. I do have another question for you, but I want to remind everyone we do have Build Dad Build next week. So please come back and view that. And I hope you, those watching, will subscribe and give us that thumbs up on the video. We've got other videos on the channel, so you can go back and binge watch some of those now. We're really getting up there. Oh, somebody snuck in another question, Izzy.
That's okay. I'm here till we're done.
There you go. The Avid that you had, would you recommend for the next step up from a desktop CNC?
The Avid I had was their top of the line. I mean, it had all the bells and whistles. So if you're talking about, I guess that's a tough question to answer. I would have to know what you want out of it before I could give you there's just so many variables. It's hard to say yes. It really depends on what you want out of the machine and what your plans are for the machine. A CNC, when you start getting into the larger formats, even some of the smaller formats, is an investment. And I always urge people to treat it as such. CNCs can make a lot of money if you have a little bit of marketing skills. So what do you want to do with that next CNC? Are you looking at making bigger projects, or are you looking at an income stream? What are you looking at? And at that point, I can answer the question better. I had 3 years with the Avid. Avid made me a lot of money. They are not bad machines. They're not fully welded machines with bigger spindles and the capabilities that those type of machines have, but they are good machines. They really are.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for the questions. John from Lincoln Street says, according to one of my videos, you think I'm an idiot. Off the record, is that true?
No. John's freaking genius. Not only that, he's cute and he's funny. And are you still coming over to sand that project tomorrow, John? Just asking.
No, that's good stuff.
No, actually, if you guys are really serious about YouTube, like you really want to make a go at it, go rewatch the episode where RT interviewed John and pay very freaking close attention. John's going to be able to offer you much better advice than I will. He is in the thick of it right now. He is growing his channel at leaps and bounds. His subscriber count each month is 10 times higher than mine is, even though I have, 450 videos and 800 and some thousand subscribers. So that's the kind of people you want to look for. Those are the kind of people you want advice from because they're in tune with the market today. I am still making videos for 6 years ago. I am not making videos for today, and I'm not gonna. That's not my shtick. So go talk to John. Sorry to throw you under the bus like that, John. You're going to get some emails tonight. I know you are.
All right. Appreciate the question, John. Izzy, thank you so much. I'm sorry we ran late. I appreciate you coming on. We could go all night with questions. Maybe you'll be open to doing it again at some point in the future.
I am 100% about this community. And I got to tell you, I love tonight that you were sharing the growth of some of the viewers and talking about their growth and not just, sitting here interviewing my dumb ass, but actually involving the viewers and the community. I thought that was incredible. And I hope you keep doing that. We need more of that stuff here.
Yeah. Well, this show is all about the community. We try to get the best guest like yourself, and we want to spotlight successes, no matter what that success is, whether it's your first subscriber on YouTube or you had a child, whatever you're happy about, we're happy about. So we want to keep that going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. And everybody, I hear my wife calling. I got to go.
Welcome to the 4321 Wood Shop. My name is Chris, and I wanted to take a moment to tell you first why I got into woodworking. Essentially, I believe we can get back to making furniture that will last generations. Personally, I got tired of the furniture that just particle board and you move it twice and it falls apart, versus my kids have dressers that have been in their family for 3-4 generations now. And I thought, I can build that stuff. I can learn how. And maybe my grandkids will be fighting over it in their house. Then I started looking into it, and the tools are expensive, and the guys making that kind of stuff on YouTube have exorbitantly high shops as far as tools and tool cost and space. And I got a 13 by 29 old woodshed that's, it's dirty, it's dusty, but it works perfect for this purpose. And then I got into content creation because I wanted to take you along on that journey and show you too could do this yourself. So I wanted to show people that you don't have to have a saw stop. You can use an older used Delta saw to get by and make furniture that's just as nice. You don't have to have the high-end miter saw. You can run to Harbor Freight and get one that will work and cut, and as long as you tune it and take care of it, it will do you perfectly fine. I wanted to show that you can buy hand tools at various places inexpensively and still make a dovetail and things like that. And I'm no professional. I'm learning just as everybody else, and wanted to show that journey. And I wanted to show that in some cases you start off with a used planer, and maybe at some point you need to upgrade. And there is times to spend the money and buy a little nicer tool, such as the saw stop, the fest tool, the DeWalt planer. That's a bit about me and why I do this and why I'm taking you along on that journey with me. So if you want to see more items created with inexpensive tools and talking about these tools and reviewing them, head on over to my channel, 4321 Woodworking, and take a look. Thanks. Have a good night.
Figure is down and locked. Main gear touchdown.